Well, first and foremost, thank you so much to everyone who has joined this call. I know it's a busy week, busy time of the year, especially for sports broadcasters. So, from everyone at TVU and Flow Sports as well, thank you so much for joining us. The title of this webinar is The Future of Sports Production, Playout, and Publishing in the Cloud. And I am incredibly honored to be joined alongside Flow Sports, who is special co hosting this with us. Lou, thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you having me.
I don't want to tease you too much or tease the audience. So we're going to jump right into talking about sports on a 30,000 view with Rob Amaro, our head of sports, before we dive into the use cases from Flow Sports. So Rob, how you doing, man?
Awesome, Josh. Glad to be here.
Now, Rob, me and you worked hand in hand on this slide particularly. And I originally had challenges facing the industry, right? And we decided that that really wasn't the best way to approach it because a lot of these challenges had already been solved. They weren't so much problems as in they had solutions, right? So we changed it to changes, right? What are the things that are changing the industry right now? So, and with that being said, we're seeing more content everywhere.
Yeah, certainly, and a good way to set the stage for today's conversation. You think about media organizations are acquiring distribution rights across a variety of sports these days. So on the rights holder side, there's a greater focus to produce and monetize as much content as possible. And for the viewers, they're provided the opportunity to access much more content than ever, but there's still that minor challenge of figuring out where to find that content they're looking for.
And we know that like streaming, I watched a playoff game on Peacock, right? I did not have a Peacock subscription before, right? But the NFL was playing a game. I wanted to watch it. I think it was a Taylor Swift was going to be at the games. My wife really wanted to watch it, right? So we had to get that. But we're really starting to see kind of a shift of where sports are being watched and all of that nature, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a part of the streaming wars, the cord cutting, but I see it as a win-win opportunity here because providers can attract subscribers and advertisers to monetize the content, and then you have your viewers who can really access content from anywhere. So if you're out to dinner or at the beach, no worries, just pop onto your mobile app for your streaming service so you can actually watch your favorite team and consume that content.
Now, one thing that we talk a lot about at TVU is what we call tier two, tier three events. But talking to Flow Sports, they were like, they use the term underserved sports, which I personally really like as well. So we're going to be hearing more about this on Flow Sports side, but walk us through kind of what we mean with like underserved sports and tier two, tier three events.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always been viewer interest in these types of sports categories. So minor league sports, college sports, even niche sports, maybe it be wrestling or moto racing, but also amateur events and also alternate broadcasts. We all know that the biggest alternate broadcast out there is Manning Cast. So a great way to keep these viewers engaged. But now it's really about the technology. The technology exists so you can produce these events with low-cost solutions, either remotely in the cloud or in the cloud. And that's what we'll talk a bit later about with Lou and Flow Sports.
And then obviously people are watching on their TV, on their phone, from home, the beach, wherever, right? But we are starting to see teams leveraging cloud-based tools to make unique experiences for people that are choosing to spend a bunch of money to go to the game, right? To watch the NFL, NHL, NBA games in person.
Exactly. And this is what we'll categorize as fan engagement. It's critical here. So you think about if you go to a game with your family, you're spending hundreds of dollars on your ticket, parking, merchandise, food and beverage. If the alternative here is to watch from home at a fraction of the cost, that means that teams need to do much more to truly provide a specialized in-venue experience. And again, we'll get to this a bit later, but we're really just seeing new trends of technology innovation that's allowing for these unique viewing experiences in the stadium or arena itself.
And one thing before we jump into a couple case studies, there is a Q&A section at the end of this, right? So we've got 30 minutes of content, and then at the end, we'll go over for Q&A. So if you guys have any, feel free to ask the question at any point. If we can get to it before, we will, right? We've got people monitoring it, but there will be a full Q&A section at the end. And also, we are talking about so many products that have so many features, so we won't be doing a full in-depth analysis of each of these products. However, to help out, I provided a QR code on each of these slides. So if you want to learn more about TVU Search, which we're about to talk about, just pull out your phone, scan it. You can learn more. If you have questions, there's a request form as well. But we will do our best to make sure you get all the information. And if not, we will give it to you as soon as possible. So TVU Search, right? It's a product that from my perspective, it started out to help with news organizations, with press conferences, with categorizing content. But we really started to learn that there was a lot of ways that sports and teams and sports broadcasters can use this product as well, which is powered by AI.
Yeah, I mean, AI is everywhere these days, and this is where we see it involved in sports production. So, at a high level, TVU search, it's allowing our customers, our clients, to set up active searches with transcription or face recognition to really automatically find, clip, and publish highlights. And the main use case we've seen thus far is really for digital teams. How can they more quickly tell their story by publishing those clips to social or other channels where they can monetize that content as quick as possible?
And if you guys have worked with TVU before, you know, we love it when our customers, clients, partners, they bring problems to us, right? And we get to use our ecosystem to solve them, which is exactly what happened here. Now, unfortunately, we can't say which broadcaster this was designed for, right? But we can kind of talk about the use case and how we got here. So, a team came to us, excuse me, a large broadcaster came to us, Rob, and what did they end up needing help with that we were able to deliver on?
So this solution we delivered just a few weeks, and to provide some context here, so the broadcaster has rights to a hockey NHL team, and the challenge here is that they could not easily track in-game sponsor mentions, and this activity would really take a few staff members hours of time to manage per night. And you think about hockey, what, 82 games? That's way too much time being used for manual tasks. So we helped deliver a solution with TVU Search really in two ways. The first was the use case is whenever the announcer is doing a sponsorship read. So Power Play brought to you by Acme Corporation, for example, using AI and transcription to actually track that mention when it's happening with that sponsorship read. The second scenario is, again, because the hockey team, this logo, the Acme Corporation logo, for example, might be on the ice or on the boards themselves throughout the hockey arena. And using TV Search's AI logo detection, every time that brand logo is recognized in the video feed, it will actually be captured additionally as a mention. So really unique use case there, all about innovation. So the outcome is that after the game, a report can automatically be generated with all those in-game sponsor mentions, again, whether it be transcription or through logo detection, that's really being distributed out to our partners and their sponsor groups as to prove out performance, but also potentially attract new sponsor customers.
Yeah, I think that's I'll, I think a lot of people here, everybody loves sports to the point where we would do it for free if we could, right? But unfortunately, we're not able to. So we got to have people to pay the bills and things of that nature. So this is kind of a tool to really help that. Um, Now let's talk about TVU Producer, right? And again, the QR code if anybody wants to learn a little bit more. We do have a demo of TVU Producer and TVU Replay coming up at the end of this presentation. But the New York Islanders, right? They were able to really create something cool and unique that the industry hadn't seen before.
Exactly. Well, to provide some perspective here, the Islanders recognize themselves and pride themselves on being innovators across team sports. So a challenge that they presented and really others have mentioned is that you think about when fans are in the arena, whether it be during a timeout or a break in the game, everybody has their phone with them, scrolling through Instagram or Twitter, checking texts or emails. The challenge here, an opportunity rather, is to figure out ways to really keep fans engaged in the team's own content. So that's where the Islanders themselves thought about the Isles Plus vision. So with this, there's an in-venue game experience platform. It's a simple scan of the QR code in order to truly keep fans engaged in the team's own content for that game. So when you think about new initiatives like these, there's also ways to fund these projects, and that's where you can also tie in a sponsorship to this type of initiative and engagement.
And Isles Plus was born, right? You've been involved since like day one of you joining here, and I got to try this product out in person as well. So it is incredible, I think, what the team on both sides has put together.
Yes, very unique. Again, a fan engagement experience here. So what you're seeing here is the Isles Plus experience. So again, it's not an app. It's really just a QR code based web browser. So as you can see, there's chat, there's 50/50 raffle, there's stats and much more. But really where the innovation comes and where TVU comes as a solutions provider is with the replay component. So using TVU Producer, the cloud production platform, a single operator can essentially provide a full-blown game production with 4 unique camera feeds that you won't get anywhere else. So again, these fans themselves have access to these unique angles of what's happening on the ice. In terms of the use case, so you think about what's happening in hockey. So a goal is scored, right? After you're done cheering, maybe you're waiting 30 seconds, you get that one highlight video on the video board. Alternatively, and again, as a way to keep these fans engaged with the content itself, is now I can pop into the Isles Plus experience. I can control my own replay experience, watch different camera angles of that goal. So again, truly an innovative platform that's exclusive to those fans in the arena who are spending their hard-earned dollars to attend the game and obviously support the Islanders.
Yeah, just a quick sidebar. Like I said, I got to test this product when it was quickly launched. Is I was so surprised by being able to look around and there's people of all ages completely using it, right? Like because it's so simple to scan a QR code. And this is also, we're thinking, okay, well, this is a phone app, a platform, right? It's a browser. This is a full production that's happening in the cloud, right? This is entirely funded. This is entirely put on by cloud-based TV producer, cloud-based tools. So it's really cool to see one person run this entire production. So it's super exciting to see. Rob, thank you so much for talking to me. We'll jump back in with you towards the Q&A, but it's a little bit of a drum roll now because I want to bring in Lou, right? I think there's a lot of people here who know Flow Sports, who have seen the footage, right? Have seen the thousands of streams. This is Flow Sports by the numbers, which even saying this sounds a little insane. 24,000 events a year across 25 different sports. I tried to do the number of millions of followers, and every time I was calculating one, I found another account for Flow Racing or Flow, Flow Wrestling or Flow Grappling. And one thing that me and Rob didn't talk about that we're talking about with Lou is fragmented audiences, right? Where I think a lot of people would view that as a problem facing the industry. Flow Sports, you guys are crushing it with fragmented audiences. That's your whole bread and butter. Lou, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, my friend?
Absolutely. Hey, doing great. Yeah, I mean, you said it, right? Like our mission at Flow Sports is to grow our sports every day, and we live it here. We live every single one of us, the 450 plus employees, lives that motto and that mission. Yeah, I mean, where do we begin, right? I'm sitting in my new studio right now. We launched this studio back in January. It's a podcast studio, but so much more, right? We were able to have a space here at headquarters in Austin that's multi-use. It's got a conversation area. It's got a desk that I'm sitting at now. It's got a green screen wall, which we will build into a cyclorama for virtual technology coming in the future. So all kinds of cool stuff happen at Flow.
So I just see 25 different sports, and I'm like, holy heck, that's a lot of sports. Is there top like which ones are you guys seeing the most of, right? Like what are your 5 most successful sports that, or success might be the right word, right? But what's the
Right.
what 5 sports verticals are you guys seeing kind of the most audience and surrounding?
Yeah, our racing streams are huge. There's a huge racing, like grassroots racing audience. Dirt track racing is big on Flow. Grappling, wrestling, the wrestling aficionados really follow Flow for everything wrestling. We've got a great team of subject matter experts here in Austin, and some of them abroad. But yeah, the writers and the content guys are amazing for that, and grappling as well. Jiu-jitsu, has a cult following. And I'm actually going out to an event in Vegas, the West Coast Trials this weekend for ADCC. So that has big implications for August, their Worlds event. So yeah, those are the major 3, and then we have others as well. Track and field is also big, and that's how this place was founded, right? The co-founders basically came from the track and field and the wrestling backgrounds. Um, so that's the gist.
So Flow Sports and TVU, I think, have been working together for a really long time, right? Since
Hmm.
I started here, right? I was thrilled to learn that we got to work with you guys because I was familiar with what you guys were doing. Um, but you guys are also really starting to embrace some cloud production tools, right? And I think cloud production for a lot of people might be a little scary, right? Like, what does those tools mean? How do we make sure the feeds stay strong? All of these things. So, can you just kind of walk us through a little bit about how TVU has worked alongside. And then also we're going to talk about the 2024 Mary Nutter, which I think is kind of the crutch of like how this conversation got started and why I wanted to bring you in for this is because you guys did an incredible event using a lot of cloud-based tools for a lot of hours for multiple
Yeah.
events or games, I should
Yeah,
say.
we sure did. But the background with TVU, well, started before me. I've been here for about 2 years. But it's really the backbone to a lot of our transmissions, right? We'll go out to dirt tracks for auto racing, for example, and not have internet at some tracks. And TVU is our primary source to get that signal out. We'll produce the feeds on site and then push it out via TVU. Um, in some places it's a backup to our main internet stream, and it served us very well, right? And then I think that's how that relationship began, because we needed a strong solution for that. We don't want to let the customer down. So those are the two big things that TVU has provided for us. We own a bunch of packs, and you guys provide service on those packs, and they've been tremendous. We've grown with you guys there, and now in this past year we've started experimenting with TVU producer, TVU commentator, which we can get into in a little bit when we explain the workflows that we initialized on Mary Nutter.
Yeah, so I didn't know what the Mary Nutter was before, right? So can you just give us a quick like 30-second like what is Mary Nutter for somebody who might not know?
Yeah, it's a great collegiate softball event that gets some of the best teams together. And we've had the rights to it for the past few years. We've been gifted a great partner there, and been able to do some cool things with that event. There's 5 fields. This happens very close to Palm Springs, California. It's Cathedral City, I believe, Field of Dreams. And it's a very cool event. I think it's a 3-day event. We send teams out there to produce content, and then also to produce the live streams. And in the past, they've been full on-site productions.
Yeah, I'm looking at the overview you have here of 75 games on 5 fields, 225 hours of streaming across 4 fields, 9 packs, 58 total games with TV producer, and then 4 TV producer cloud control rooms. So, yeah, this is a very extensive event that you guys were putting on, right?
Yeah, so to break down this year, very different from the workflows we've had in the past, but still some similarities. We wanted to obviously keep the quality consistent. This year we brought in a broadcast truck for Wrigley, and that's where we did more of our broadcast production on Wrigley Field. And then the other 4 outer fields, um, they got the TVU producer treatment, which is really great because we were able to bring everything back via TVU packs to headquarters, and then basically cut everything in the cloud. But we relied on our internet here at headquarters because it's a very strong backbone. So we didn't really have anybody at home, but we can do that. If they have good internet at home, you can do this at home too. And then we also implemented your TVU commentator feature, because for all these outer fields, we had remote commentary, and those guys they were in the luxury of being in their own home. So that was really neat. And we love commentator too, because in the past we've done sort of a Remy style with vMix, but we never had talkback, right? So this is a new feature that you guys have as well, and we implemented that this year. A lot of other cool little things that we found out about on the fly, but we're implementing for future showings of this. Is all the external use cases you can have with Stream Deck. If I need to cut cameras, I'd rather use my Stream Deck than be on my computer cutting cameras, because in instances when we have one person doing everything, they're controlling audio, they're cutting cameras, they're rolling commercials. So that's a lot of tabs to have open. They're all web-based, right? So, spreading that out into a couple screens and then having some external interfaces for that, huge. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we talk a lot about is cost saving when it comes to using these cloud solutions, right? And
Mhm.
so, can you talk a little bit about obviously less people have to travel, you get to keep people back home, right?
Yep.
And I think one thing we kind of briefly touched on just kind of chatting in the past was that you get to use your core broadcast team maybe more than you would normally get to if you have to send people out there, right? You have people that maybe have been with you for years, right, and kind of understand. So can you walk through a little bit about what it means to kind of work at Flow Sports for these type of events?
Yeah, so that's the strongest point I should make with the Remy broadcasts, right? So now that we're trying to pull in more Remys, we can have a core group here in Austin of technical operators, right? That really know the system, right? Because when you're going out on site, everybody knows who does remote production. You're usually meeting a group of people. You got one day to debrief them on what you need to execute for the next 3 days, right? And then you're maybe a little bit of rehearsal time, but most of it's setup time, and then you're on the air live. Where here, I'm bringing in core guys that have done it before. They know the drill, which is awesome. And then a lot of our producers don't have to travel as much, right? So you can do graphics remotely. We can do the cutting remotely. So I only have to fly a few core technicians or producers out to site. In this instance, I had Cruz Sanchez, who's tremendous out in the field, and then I had one of my other senior producers, Kyle Grover, here, just basically being the air traffic controller for all the four TVU producer broadcasts that we were doing. So really nice. And then Don Cardone is somebody who directed and produced Wrigley Field in a traditional sense. So fantastic group of guys here that we work with, and guys and girls, and they killed it. They killed it on this one.
So we have a Q&A section. I know we're about to hop into a demo of TVU Producer and TVU Replay, Lou, but real quick, we did get one question that I want to, because it's about what we're talking about right now,
Uh-huh.
is that people are saying that, and I've heard this as well, is like, okay, maybe cloud isn't ready yet, right? Or cloud productions, it needs a little bit more, it's a little scary to use. So somebody asked, what efficiencies are you finding in these cloud workflows? So, what's the I think you touched on that a little bit too, but do you have any final words on that for the person who asked?
Yeah, I mean, the efficiency is traveling less people, right? You're spending less on T&E. We're also, like we said, I think it's production value, right? Like production value and production quality is big for us, and we're trying to up that game big time. So I think that's where I see the efficiency, right? Like I wanna be able to have core people doing the right things at the right time, and make sure nobody's bending over backwards to get it done. I think cloud, yes, in the past it struggled, right? And one of the big things that we all worry about is like that proxy view that we're getting on our screens. But that is just a proxy view, right? Everything that's transmitted out to the public, out to our viewers is in full scale HD, whether we produce it at 720p or 1080p, and we haven't seen any hiccups with that. That's been the beauty of it. And we started small, right, in the sense where this particular 4 fields of production is only 2 cameras, as you see right there. There's a Marshall at low home, and then there's a man camera in the outfield, right? So that execution from a camera standpoint is easy, but we get to integrate singular graphics directly through TVU, right? And so that's another efficiency. It's all in one. The commentator from TVU, also part of the already part of the system, right? We're not going to different tool sets to do different things. It's all integrated into one solution, which we love. And TVU as the transmission backbone too. So really
Well,
cool.
Lou, we'll bring you back in just a short amount of time for more Q&A. Let's go ahead and hop in the demo real quick. Lou, thank you so much. And somebody did ask about broadcast quality, which Lou, you just answered. We can do full 1080p, all of that, right? You're not getting,
Hmm.
a drop in signal for that. But let's go ahead and hop right into it with and then this is as well. I'll show this real quick. This is kind of a view from the control room, right, Lou? Didn't mean to jump the gun
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Excited about the demo with Robin. So yeah, this is your home base in Austin, right?
This is home base in Austin. This is one of our control rooms in Austin. There should be some B-roll in there where we housed another couple producers doing the other streams, but that's how small the footprint is, right? We're no longer having to rely on uh, a whole footprint for everything. There, she's doing audio. She's got stats on the board. The scores coming in through Singular, as I mentioned. She just checked her stats there to make sure everything was accurate. And then there's your camera sources, and he's basically controlling a flow zone broadcast, which is melting all of those feeds together on one stream so you can kind of watch everything at once.
That's awesome. Lou, thank you so much again. I know, guys, we have Q&A. We are running a little over on time, so I apologize. But let's go ahead and get this to switch. And Robin Wu, product
Hey
manager
guys.
for TVU Networks for TVU Replay. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm doing extremely well considering you just gave me a promotion, but
I know, right?
excited to demo.
I'll talk to we'll talk to the Paul and you know talk to Paul about seeing and making it official, right? Um,
Yeah,
Robin, feel free to take the screen share from me. I know you've got some cool stuff to show off. We're going to show off TVU
sure.
producer and then a little bit about TVU replay as well.
Got it. So taking over the screen share here. Over here, I have this is the interface for the TVU producer. On slots 1 to 4, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. These are 4 camera sources connected to an RPS-1 unit. That is the latest version we have of our pack. It is a backpack that's capable of transmitting 4 HD channels to anywhere. And as you can see, if I point on my webcam, it's right over there on the desk. Apologies, we're preparing for the NAB show at the moment, so it's a little bit of organized chaos. Oh, also, for that little chair in the corner there, that's where we sit when we make a mistake on a product, so we can make sure our product is tip top. But anyways, returning to the topic, slots 1 to 4 are all coming from a single pack, while slot number 5 is coming from Josh, his iPhone. All of these sources will be frame perfect synchronized using there's Josh using the TVU's IS Plus algorithm, so that even if these even if these sources are coming from different devices or even across great physical distances, they will still be frame perfect synchronized. So just touching on how we are ingesting these sources at the moment.
And I
And
can
then
also
second
control
thing,
things alongside you, right? Like I can
yes,
and I scanned a QR code to join via the phone app. So it's really cool to be able to see how easy you can do a multi-cam
yeah,
production, right? If you just have iPhones or cell phones or iPads or however it is, like a smartphone. So
right.
really, really
If you
cool.
want to add any new phone apps as an input source, so basically the phone app turns your phone's camera into a camera and the phone's own data, SIM cards or Ethernet connection into a transmitter, turning your phone into a mini transmitter almost. Obviously, the large pack is still capable of doing greater and higher quality video transmission. And then the next thing is all these little boxes on the left here, they are different modules that we have to our producer. They're all independent from each other. I want to stress this part a little bit. So, Lou earlier was commenting on how he's now gained more trust and more faith in the cloud production solution compared to like an offline on-premise production. Previously, what would happen with a cloud production is because it's a software, when one module fails, the entire production would fail. So the online production software is limited by the shortest plank, and also the deployment speed of new versions is also limited by your slowest engineer. What we have been doing here at TVU for the last few years is modularizing and containerizing every single individual module. So all of these modules are independent microservices that are not dependent on each other. What that means is we can have daily deployments for each of the version. So if you have a new feature request for us, we can just work on that simple module. Say if you want something changed for the intercom module, we can just make changes to that without affecting the rest. And also what that means is when a certain part of the module, let's say if they were to fail, it will not affect the rest of the production. So if say, the overlay module will have a problem where you can't update the scorecard or something, your audio, your video will not be affected at all. That's one of our mission statement or motto here almost at TVU is that we are flying the airplane as we're building the airplane, but we guarantee you that we won't crash, we won't hit the ground. the bathroom stall in the airplane might not flush, but the plane won't crash. Your goal of outputting your program will still be successful. Just a little bit of demonstration on the independent module here. So, for example, this audio mixer module, I can totally send this link over to Josh, and then this is Josh's work area. He will be the dedicated audio person. That's all he sees. He doesn't have to interact with the rest of the production. So you can think of this as a giant Google Sheet or giant Google Doc almost, where different people can collaborate at the same time on the production. And same with the graphics overlay. And also we are introducing a lot of human-centric AI features into the producer. You will hear more about it at the NAB show, but I'm just going to walk over some of them for now. First of all is that we will introduce an automatic graphics overlay feature that is going to be very useful for the sports broadcast. What that's going to do is, if you have a camera pointing at the scorecard and you want an overlay on the screen to dynamically update based on home team or away team has scored, the AI will take care of that. So previously this will probably be like an intern or a college student's job. Now the AI can take care of it. And similarly, in the TVU search product, also in other products where instead of having someone, most likely an intern, sit through the entire recording and look for all the moments that included, say, a goal and create a highlight clip, on TVU search, you can just search goal, and then the AI will automatically generate all the clips where a goal happened and present that to you so that you can create some after match highlights. And talking about live replay, which is what I'm about to demo, we also have two AI features with live replay. One is that when we detect a change, when the AI detects a change in the score, it can automatically trigger an instant replay playlist to be generated. And also another final AI feature that we will be announcing is the AI frame interpolation. So slow motion obviously being a critical part of instant replays. If you only have a 60 or 30 frame per second camera, when you slow that recording down to say 25%, it's going to look really choppy, right? It's going to look very choppy. So we will have an AI frame interpolation service where we'll insert additional frames into the video, turning your 60 frame per second video into say 300 frame per second video, and then when you slow it down, it will look very smooth. So enough talk about AI. I know we're all going to be replaced one day, but let me dive into the TVU replay solution for a second here. So the TVU replay solution, at first, like Josh stated, it first started out as just an online multi-source synchronized player experience for fan engagements in arenas. But then we were like, hey, this also has some close resemblance to an instant replay control interface. So, and we know that instant replay is one of the most critical parts of a sports production because it adds perspective, right? You can watch the goal from the home team's perspective and then from the away team's perspective, and maybe even capture the audience's reaction to it. So what we have here on the left-hand side is a live preview of the different input sources. On the right-hand side are the different tracks. You can control this through touch screen means, mouse and keyboard, or what I have here. Seems like I just unplugged my external controller. One of these Skyhoy XC8 external controllers. Let me just put the power back on. So these external controllers are extremely potent, and replay operators around the world are all familiar with them. Because I just accidentally unplugged it while it's rebooting and reconnecting, let me just walk you through how it would operate using the mouse and keyboard interface. So you would be seeking around, finding the the marking point that you'd like. This is obviously, this is in my opinion, a lot easier with the external controller. So you would find the place that you'd like, click mark in, my controller's back. I'm just gonna find a random spot and mark out. From there, you can either save this clip. There's Josh smiling away. You can either save this clip or output
Appreciate
it
the
to
shot, you
program
know.
immediately. Yeah, yeah. Here, I'll slow down your smile a little bit. There, I can control the playback speed with the T-bar. There's Josh in slow motion, smiling and talking. And let me now just click cut. This will be cut to the program immediately, as you can see here. There's Josh smiling on the program. So instant replay, obviously a critical part of and there's a bumper shot playing. Instant replay is obviously a critical part of any sports production, and we're quite happy that we're able to provide the solution to our customers. And actually, I was wondering, Josh, is it okay if you take some high mobility actions so that I can capture it in the replay solution?
We're over time, guys. I apologize so much, but there's still a lot of people tuned in, so we're definitely gonna keep this going before the Q&A. Yeah, I don't know. I got the dog toy. I hope my dog doesn't come running in here as I squeak it. I don't know. I guess I'll throw it up in the air a couple of times. Can you give me a replay of that? Maybe better
Yeah,
smiling?
go for it. Okay, so there's Josh throwing the ball. Let me, using the shuttle wheel, seek back to the point where you first started throwing it. There it is. Find an appropriate time to mark out. Okay, I think he's on slot number 5. Let me slow down and throwing the ball using the T-bar. Okay. And yeah, I would just cut that to the producer. So the bumper shot plays, and there's him throwing the ball, slowing down. I was a little bit sloppy on the T-bar, guys. My bad. Haven't had my coffee yet. If we had AI replace our interns, then the interns can get the coffees or something. So yeah, that's the instant replay solution. We'll really excited to be showcasing this today. And I really think that instant replay brings the soul into a sports production, because if there's no instant replay, why not just go to the game? You're just looking at cameras. If you can't look at a replay, then it's just not the same. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robin. Can you guys see my screen? Did I share the right one? Just want to make sure.
Yes. Well, I see Yoni.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it's the right person. So real quick before jumping to the Q&A, if you guys are going to NAB, you are invited to another sports broadcasting, not a webinar, but presentation alongside France Television, who's the host broadcaster for the Summer Games coming up in 2024, which is this year. So it's really not coming up. It's right around the corner. That's going to be on April 15th at 11 a.m. local Las Vegas time. You can scan the QR code to sign up, the RSVP. But again, that's going to be happening at the West Hall booth 2101. So I hope to see everybody there. And now we're going into the much anticipated Q&A section. So I'll leave this up for just a little bit while longer. So feel free to ask any questions. There's still a lot of people in here, but I've got the questions right here and just going to kind of jump into it. First and foremost, Lou, this is a personal question for you, and someone is asking if you used to work at ESPN, which I know the answer to that, right?
Yeah, and I think I saw that too. Marlena used to be a TD when I worked at ESPN. Big shout out to her. Say hi to her. It looks like she's gone up in the world out there since then. So congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations as well. That's awesome. Then another question we got is about it's for Flow Sports. So Lou, this is for you. How do you guys handle the different nature of each type of event? And I'm guessing when they say events, they're talking about like the different types of sports.
How do we handle the nature? It's kind of a broader question. It's by use case, right? Like, so by sport, we are tackling production levels, right? And then the partner and us really determine that. So one of the big things that we just signed is D2 and D3 contracts for NCAA, and those will be handled on on a conference basis, right? So we want to provide the best experience for the viewer, but we also know at that level we have to go in with certain expectations, and that's the way we do it. And some of it is feed partners, right? And they handle the productions, but sometimes it's internal productions, and those internal productions are also handled at different levels depending on what the budgets are, and we work with those budgets. Yeah.
Rob, is there any questions? I'm going to go through the what we have answered right now. Is there any questions that you want to have for Lou? I know you we have another Rob that manages the Flow Sports account, right? So it's not confusing at all. We have Rob Amaro, Rob House, right? Like,
Another big shout out to Rob House. Love Rob House.
Yeah, Rob is incredible. We love Rob Amaro too, but Rob House maybe a little bit more. Just kidding. So I'm gonna go through these questions real quick. But Rob, anything you wanna ask Lou?
I did have one here. So Lou, you brought up remote commentary earlier today, and I think I bring this question because I mentioned earlier about alternate broadcasts, which incorporates traditionally remote guests. So I'm curious, like how that works in the Flow Sports world, whether it be an alternate broadcast, a secondary language, like a podcast show, like anything you're doing there, or just maybe some perspective on how you all would handle that.
Yeah, so we've got a couple things out there for alternate broadcasts. One of them is we'll do watch parties, right? So NCAA just had their World Series of wrestling over the weekend, and we did a watch party right behind me in this studio where the guys get to watch a big 85-inch. We'll put on ESPN Plus for them, and they're just commentating on the side. We obviously don't have the broadcast rights to ESPN, so we just kind of showcase them watching the event and commentating on it, and we got a great viewership on it. People actually follow that. Like I said before, there's a wrestling aficionado base that's huge, and they love what we're saying out there. These content guys are really good. They're all former wrestlers or still wrestling, and they talk about some great stuff. So we got a good following on that. We also do Portuguese commentary on some of our grappling, right? So along with the American audience that loves jiu-jitsu, there's plenty of Brazilians out there as well that definitely love it, and we are catering to them as well.
Yeah,
Does that answer your question? Is there anything else that I may not have touched on?
I mean, that hits it. We see multi-language use cases. We see again these environments where you have athletes or retired athletes in an intimate setting, kind of talking over, commentating on an event itself. So it's good to hear kind of what you're doing there.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of questions about pricing for some of these models, or for some of these products, and I'm comfortable talking about it, and where for TV producer, you pay per the hour, right? So if you're not using it, right, like you don't, there's different pricing as far as what features, how many inputs you want, all of that type of nature, like how powerful the virtual machine needs to be comes into play as well. But it's strictly a pay per hour, right? So we're not locking you into massive licensing fees and things of that nature, right? You have it pay by the hour. So that's what people are asking, and that can range in pricing. If you want more information about that, I can definitely get you in touch with the correct person. Let's see. Somebody's asking about which our product manager for TVU Anywhere is not here, but somebody was intrigued by seeing my smile on my TVU Anywhere, and they're asking about. So Robin, maybe you can answer this. If not, I know you're more technical than other people here. They're asking the reliability and efficiency of TVU Anywhere using smartphones, and to what extent should any production rely on smartphones? Are there particular types of sports productions where smartphones are particularly useful? And I think it's kind of a case-by-case basis, right? Obviously, if the signal is worse, then you might have to rely on a TVU pack, right, for more cellular modems being added. But we've done an entire soccer game or a football game, if anybody's joining from other parts of the world, using iPads and using smartphones. So it's totally possible to do full productions with smartphones. So I would say it's incredibly reliable because you're also bonding signals together.
I can comment on this a little bit, actually. I think since COVID started, the NBA was trying to utilize more smartphone in their production, and I believe a few seasons ago, NBA started using TVU Anywhere for some of the courtside shots. I cannot I know that they've done that before. I cannot comment more on what's happening now or they're still using it. But I know that up till now, TVU Anywhere is the only approved NBA approved mobile video streaming or video transmission software. So I say TV Anywhere is pretty reliant, right? And Josh is correct. It all depends on what quality you're going for, because the iPhone's camera is it's getting better, but it is still nothing compared to a more professional 4K camera, let's say. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. But say if you're a journalist trying to get a shot on the roadside or conduct an interview, I think it's sufficient in my opinion.
Yeah, and one thing about TVU Anywhere that I think is so key is that it is included with TVU Producer, right? So for an hourly fee, depending on which one you select, you can have a multi-camera production that is set up by scanning QR codes that's done in the cloud with graphics being added, all of that, right? So you're bonding Wi-Fi and cell signal together, right? I think you can also add Ethernet if your phone supports that as well, right? So
Right.
you're getting a multicam production, which could be great for Rob and Lou. We're talking about alternate broadcasts, right? If Flow Sports wanted to take producer and they wanted to have a quick podcast set up in the stands or at the stadium or whoever, right, with live interviews with the mother of somebody who just scored a home run or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can all be done with TVU Anywhere, and we'll stand by our product and being able to handle that. But I love that it's
Yeah.
included with TVU Producer, right? I think that acts as a really that can sometimes be a barrier, a hard barrier to entry when we're talking about mobile transmitters, the costs associated with cell signal and cell data, things of that nature. So it's really cool that it's included together.
Live use story. I have one for you. So we have a sister company, Mile Split, that is covers a lot of track and field, cross country, things like that. And they use TVU Anywhere out in the field. I don't know if they got a broken camera out at shipment or something. They were down a
Hmm.
camera and we recommended the use case. They downloaded the app to their phone and they were able to cover some field coverage, right? So I don't know if it was pole vault or something like that. It was a while back ago, but they were using TVU Producer on the field and they were able to integrate TVU Anywhere there.
Somebody's asking how can we test drive it? Ron, feel free to reach out to us at any point, and we can get you set up to to try it out and get some proof of concept going for you. So would absolutely love to. Let me see. I'm getting Robin, excuse me. This question is more so for you. People are kind of asking
Okay.
about latency for producer, and you're able to set the
Okay.
latency about what you want. You're able to
Well,
control.
I mean, I assume they're referring to the lens-to-lens latency for replay. So, but you're right, Josh. There's several parts of the latency. One is from the camera into the cloud receiver when the production room first sees it. That can be configured. With the RPS-1, our latest backpack, you can drop that down to as low as 0.5 seconds, provided you have enough bandwidth, or even lower. I think 0.3 now in a later version. So quite low. And then the latency between you receiving that and the replay operator seeing that on their screen, right now it's about 6 seconds, but we are already in the process of reducing that down even more. And I think we've possibly made a breakthrough last week. So, you can expect that to be much lower in the future.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really
So,
cool.
so yeah, to answer the question holistically, lens to lens latency for replay, let's say 6.5 seconds, and then well, so yeah, 6.5 seconds. And then if you follow certain use certain prototype versions, we can possibly get that down to say 3 seconds. But we should figure out your use case first before giving it an answer, because it is quite case by case sometimes.
Somebody's asking about audio channels as well, and I know Robin, you don't manage producer as a whole, so you might not have the answer to this, so it's okay. It says how
Mm.
many audio channels, and do you have to embed into the video signal? Do you?
Uh, I don't think there's a hard requirement, but I think most of our users use just two for each video source. But I don't think there's a hard requirement. But we can get back to you on the details.
Yeah, if you haven't asked a question and we don't, feel free to put your email address. We get a full breakdown of all the questions that were asked in this, so we can totally totally get
Yeah.
that. But guys, we are way over time. So thank you so much for everybody who has joined from around the world. And again, Lou, thank you so much. You know, I know this was a very last minute addition, but you know, TVU Networks is honored to be, you know, has such a strong partnership with Flow Sports, and what you guys are doing to support all of these different types of events is miraculous. So, you know, thank you, and absolutely keep up the great work.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having us, and nice to meet all of you. Hope to see you at NAB this year, and we'll talk soon.
Yep. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.